Good day, everyone. Welcome to Tagum City National High School Science Web Course for Quarter 2, Force, Motion, and Energy. Today, we will be explaining the different effects of electromagnetic waves to living organisms and the environment. The learning competency that we will focus on is to explain the different effects of electromagnetic radiation on living things and the environment. As discussed from the previous videos, electromagnetic waves or EM waves form a continuous band of spectrum called the electromagnetic spectrum. These different EM waves interact with matter and consequently with living organisms. Some of them have beneficial effects while others have harmful effects. Let us examine each of them and their interaction with matter. Radio waves. Radio waves are non-ionizing radiation, which means they do not have enough energy to form ions from typical atoms or molecules, or break chemical bonds, causing chemical reactions or DNA damage. Heat is the primary effect of absorbing radio waves. So far, there are no concrete evidences that radio waves are carcinogenic to humans. But the International Agency for Cancer Research has considered radio waves to possibly cause cancer, especially those that emit high-frequency radio waves. Microwaves are another form of non-ionizing radiation. The non-ionizing radiation do not cause harm in the DNA structure and cellular processes. It has not been shown conclusively that microwaves have significant adverse biological effects at low levels, but long-term exposure may trigger cancer. However, high-intensity exposure to microwaves will cause heating and burns. Intense heating from microwaves denature protein in the eye, which results to cataract. Strong infrared radiation in certain industry high heat settings may be hazardous to the eyes, resulting in damage or blindness to the user. Since the radiation is invisible, special infrared proof goggles must be worn in such places. For the visible light, photosynthesis is a good example. Photosynthesis is a process used by plants and other organisms to convert light energy into chemical energy, usually done by plants. The process always begins when energy from light is absorbed by proteins in the photosynthetic cells of the leaf. Visual perception is another effect of visible light. It is the ability to interpret the surrounding environment using light in the visible spectrum reflected by the objects in the environment. The resulting perception is also known as visual perception, eyesight, sight, or vision. Ultraviolet rays or UV light causes the body to produce vitamin D, specifically UVB, which is essential for life. The human body needs some UV radiation in order for one to maintain adequate vitamin D levels. However, excess exposure to UV or ultraviolet produces harmful effects that typically outweigh the benefits. Vitamin D promotes the creation of serotonin. The production of serotonin is in direct proportion to the degree of bright sunlight the body receives. This means that the more UV that we receive or absorb from the sun will produce high levels of serotonin. Serotonin is a hormone thought to provide sensations of happiness, well-being, and serenity to human beings. UV rays also treat certain skin conditions. Modern phototherapy has been used to successfully treat psoriasis, eczema, jaundice, vitiligo, atopic dermatitis, and localized scleroderma. In UV light, or the UV light, in particular UVB radiation, has been shown to induce cell cycle arrest in skin cells. In humans, excessive exposure to UV radiation can result in acute and chronic harmful effects on the eye's dioptric system and retina. The skin and the eyes are most sensitive to damage by UV. Overexposure to ultraviolet B radiation not only can cause sunburn but also some forms of skin cancer. All bands of UV radiation damage collagen fibers and accelerate aging of the skin. Both UVA and UVB destroy vitamin A in skin, which may cause further damage. UVB radiation can also cause direct DNA damage. This cancer connection is one reason for concern about ozone depletion and the ozone hole. UV degradation is another form of polymer degradation that affects plastics exposed to sunlight. The problem appears as discoloration or fading, cracking, loss of strength, or disintegration. The effects of attack increases with exposure time and sunlight intensity. This means that ultraviolet radiation can help decompose or degrade plastics and other polymers. Since Röntgen's discovery that X-rays can identify bone structures, X-rays have been used for medical imaging. Large doses of X-rays increase the risk of developmental problems and cancer in those exposed. The risk of radiation is greater to a fetus. So in pregnant patients, the benefits of getting an X-ray should be balanced with the potential hazards to the fetus. Gamma rays are ionizing radiation, just like an X-ray and UV ray, and are thus biologically hazardous. Due to the high penetration power of gamma rays, they can damage bone marrow and internal organs. Unlike other ionizing radiations like alpha and beta rays, gamma rays pass easily through the body and thus pose a formidable radiation protection challenge. It would be very difficult to stop a gamma ray than stopping an alpha or a beta ray. Gamma rays cause damage at the cellular level and are penetrating, causing diffuse damage throughout the body. However, they are less ionizing than alpha or beta particles, which are less penetrating. Low levels of gamma rays may cause cancer, induction, and genetic or DNA damage. So, all in all, ionizing radiation poses health harm to living organisms. This video concludes the lesson about electromagnetic spectrum. On the next video, we will examine the mirrors and lenses, focusing on the images formed by them. As you move on the course, make sure to answer the check your understanding question after each video. See you next time.